All right, we're here in downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana, and we're going to go visit the University of St. Francis Music Technology Building. So hi, this is Gavin from Haverstick Designs. I'm here today at University of St. Francis with my good friends Miles Fullwider and Mark Everetts, and we're excited to tour the studio and be able to show off what you guys have here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. How long has it existed, the music technology program?
So I showed up in 2010, and I had overlap with the first year of graduating students, so it had started 3 years before that. We were in the attic, kind of a basketball court that's attached to a church. It was the university making do with wanting to start a program, and that was the space that was available, but it was nothing like this beautiful space that we get to hang out in now every day. The university stepped up in a huge and amazing way and worked with you to get this space that's just really unbelievable, and I'll put it up against anybody. I'm very proud of what we have here. It's amazing.
So I have a unique opportunity to be here with TJ Beachell, who is a graduate of the University of St. Francis program.
Yeah, so I was actually part of the first graduating class. It's been a crazy ride over the past, 10, 12 years? Not sure exactly. It's been a minute. But to watch the buildings evolve and the program as a whole completely morph into what we're sitting in today has been really fun.
Yeah. What is it like walking into this building compared to what maybe you experienced when you were a student here?
Yeah, this is vastly different. At the time, we were all just scrappy and excited to just make the most of what we had. So even though in the beginning, it was slow to kind of just get all the equipment implemented and get the rooms going, but what we learned in that process, because the studio was under construction, but we were there almost every night helping put the gear in and do all the software installations. So ironically, completely unintentionally, we were learning how to build a studio at the same time as learning how to operate a studio. Yeah. So as a student, it was fun to be a fly on the wall to kind of watch all the processes happen.
We got brought in with Design Collaborative was the architect. Sweetwater was heavily involved too with some of the gear integration side of things. And then Matt Call with Simplified Acoustics did all of the install of the custom treatments. But place is really unique because it's an old Scottish Rite building. It's a historic register and a lot of things going on here.
The building's split up a couple different ways. So we have our main level here that has a couple different rooms and suites and some classroom spaces. Upstairs are ensemble and rehearsal spaces, and then in the floor below us is where all of our studio spaces are. So we'll just kind of take a walk through and take a look at some of these things. So on our main level, again, we have a classroom space here. And then we have our lobby here, which features some of the artwork from the private collection of our university, which is really fun.
We should mention Marble Lounge Records.
Thank you, yes.
And so the name of the record label that the students came up with after lots of testing and trying and sort of competitions based on the Marble Lounge here, the record label that is run by students is called Marble Lounge Records. So
it's a good choice with that being I know that was something kind of part of the historic part
One
of this
the
building that we wanted to retain.
Great parts that was saved that is cool to see every day.
We also have these private mix and edit suites here, and so we have 12 of these that students come and go and can work in. And they're all outfitted similarly, same software, hardware, things like that, but different monitors, different speakers. Rooms are a little bit different sizes and things like this, but they're a great space that students come in and get to work.
I remember when we were designing these spaces, we were always trying to keep windows in a lot of them, orienting them and dimensioning them so that there was still a window in each space, which natural light's always a nice thing.
I joined in 2016, so right when this all started, I want to call it a reboot. I mean, you and everyone else involved had really built a really great program and everything like that, but it was definitely a new chapter. And we're downtown Fort Wayne, so we're not on the main campus, and so there's a different feeling being here.
I feel like it's a great experience for your students because you have, just this place where they can come and play and learn, and to have this level of studio at their disposal. Like a lot of universities don't have rooms like this.
Yeah, with the campus being right in the downtown Fort Wayne area, it's got a great vibe to it and amazing facility too. So definitely one of the facilities that when we have clients in town, I like to try to get them down here to see this so they can see what's possible for a program when you develop it correctly.
Yeah.
And so here, we'll actually walk through this horseshoe gallery just for fun. You're going to see this is being set up for some productions that are loading in. But this theater is a historic theater, and so when this building was being renovated or reimagined, this was an important part of this. And so this theater was built in the mid-1920s, I believe 1925. And so this is a historic theater. And so the fact that our students have access to this, and there's a number of community productions and events outside of things that the university does, but we have access to this space, which is really incredible because it seats around approximately 2,000 individuals. We have a live sound concentration in the fact that we have an environment like this that they can work in, and that there's programming that is happening that they can be participatory in, and stuff like that. That again, that is just in the same building essentially.
Yeah.
It's pretty special.
Yeah, that's such a neat space. You want to go check out the studios next?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
The mastering studio is just straight up world class.
Yeah.
And there's always been like, there's a real wow factor when somebody listens to music in there for the first time. Most people have never heard music on that level before. And so I think that's kind of historically been everybody's favorite listening space. You know, we take students to all over, also visit studios all over, and you know, studios will try to get this big wow playing something for students, and the reality is that they can't hang with our mastering studio. So this is a magical place.
Yeah, it's really great. It's kind of a weird L shape that we had to work with as far as where the entrance needed to be, but I remember we could have made this room smaller and not had that volume, but that's what helps a lot with that low end, which I know that in this room.
Oh man, that's the thing, is like, it's a great space, but the thing that to me really stands out and I think that is striking is the bass is just tight all the way down. It's just so even and so tight in a way that most people never get a chance to experience that.
Yeah, and we have a combination of a lot of different types of treatment in here to get that. It's, there's a stretch fabric system. A lot of times people see these kind of red orangish walls and they think it's drywall, but that's all fabric, and there's a lot of things hidden behind the scenes. And then the wood slats help to bring some liveliness back to the room, so it's not totally dead in here, because that's just not a room you want to be in for long periods of time. But yeah, it just turned out really, really nice. We have the diffusers on the back wall from Overtone Acoustics that you guys got. Sometimes people build them themselves, but usually that's the last time they ever want to do that.
Exactly.
So it's easier just to buy them and put them up. And we've got some clouds here with, again, wood slats on them. But yeah, overall this room, I remember when we first fired it up, and it was pretty impressive what it sounds like in here. So one of the challenges that we had here was the isolation of rooms, because this is not just one big sprawling building, it's multiple floors. And that's always a challenge when we're dealing with studios, is that if they're built on anything but the ground level or on a slab of some sort, vibrations can easily get into that structure and just travel out. And so there's a lot of different techniques that we had to do, but then while also doing that, you have to be concerned about accessibility and making sure that if you have ramps to go into rooms that needed to be floated floors. So there's just so many details that I always tell people it's like having a game of Tetris. It's like every little piece is going to interact with another piece, and you have to work with all the trades, like the architects, contractors, and to make it happen. But there's a lot of heavy-duty construction going on in here, really high-quality isolation doors to make sure that you don't build this amazing system.
I think they're like 900 pounds or something.
Yeah, they're heavy. They're heavy.
So some students certainly have a harder time opening them than others.
Sure, but it's like all those details, they just add together to make a really quality space. And so I remember that process being an interesting one, because it can suck up a lot of the budget, honestly, like when you're dealing with isolation, and so making sure that we got enough isolation without doing too much. But then while also planning at the same time for high quality sound, and making sure, like this control room I knew that we're sitting in right now, I knew there'd be a lot of students in here. And so we needed it big enough to accommodate all of that. But also, selfishly, I wanted it big enough so that the low end would sound nice in here. Because the bigger the room is, the better low frequency response we're going to get.
Welcome to Studio A. So We're really excited and fortunate to have our Studio A centered around a Neve 5088 analog console, and this is a really fun space where a lot of students spend their time. It's important for us that our students are in these spaces as early as possible. So, I teach an introduction freshman class, and we try to get them in here as well very quickly and get them prepared. And so then through the course of their time here, they're constantly being reintroduced to these topics over and over. That gives them a much better experience and foundation and knowledge base around all the different tools and workflows and processors and things like that. But this is our largest studio space. We have our control room here and our tracking room and two ISO booths and ATC monitoring. But the thing is that we always try to emphasize for students is that there was a time where people would go to specific recording studios because of certain consoles, and there are certain sounds of those rooms and those kinds of things, and that's an important instrument out, in addition to the whole studio experience. And so the beauty of this is the fact that students have that type of experience here. So they have that type of a console. They can reach out and touch dials and knobs and stuff like that. I mean, this is a hybrid workflow. We have computers and things like this, but we have the analog processors. And so this makes a big, this changes everything. I mean, understanding gain staging here changes how you'll work in the box and stuff like that. So those are really important principles that we really try to instill early on.
Yeah. And all the treatments in all of these rooms, the master room and these included, are all similar as far as aesthetics are concerned. Stretched fabric systems, wood slats to bring liveliness. In these rooms, some of the ISO rooms and the live room, we've also implemented the Flex 48 adaptive treatment system from Acoustical Fulfillment, giving your students the opportunity to just change the way the room sounds, like on the fly.
We have a few years with them to help them really develop that ear training, and so what better way to do that to know how to manipulate the environment before you're reaching for an EQ to do something artificially. Right. And so, this is just one more tool that they have within this space outside of the software. And we've got lots of fun software, but it's really fun to be able to get that right. And it's also really gratifying when you're recording something well and you pull up the faders and you're like, oh, that's sounding the way I want it to sound, and stuff like that. And that's a whole other level of mastery. So
that's great. Does students play around with them a lot?
Yeah, I think as students start to get comfortable, you come in and you see, it's like, oh, that wasn't like that yesterday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's like they're never the same. Like you come in every day and they're all moved around in different configurations.
What a great tool.
Then you got 2 ISO booths in here. I know that the Flex 48s are nice in here too because they're designed to be pretty controlled.
Yeah.
But then being able to pop the shields in if you ever do acoustic guitar or some string instruments in here, that probably is really nice to have that flexibility.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But I did a project where we had a bunch of guitar amps in there, and then putting all the shields up made it just a lot of sound energy.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. And so that works. Yeah.
It's really awesome.
A lot of flexibility, and we have some good sized ceilings in here, which really helps.
I want to say they're 12 feet or so, like something like that.
Yeah.
I believe that's what they were. Then the clouds hung down a little bit further than that. But yeah, anytime we get the big volume in here, it'll help with that low end reproduction and just give it a little bit more liveliness too, to have that extra volume. So great. You want to check out Studio B now?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome.
So Studio B is a really exciting studio, set up a little bit differently. So you could, we kind of classify that almost as more of a digital workflow. So our post-production courses, our sound for film, TV animation, our audio for video games courses use this room a lot, as well as we have an immersive audio and multi-channel audio course as well that works in this room. So this room has been outfitted for Dolby Atmos and immersive audio formats for well over 3 years now. And we've been teaching and working in this space. And so centered around an Avid S6 console, and again, a bunch of different other analog processors and things like this. But this is really geared towards that quick turnaround environment if you're working in post or something like that, where you've just got to be, there's not a lot of time. It's high delivery, things like that. And so putting students in this environment, and is another really fun room to listen to music and things like that, again, with the spatial audio components and stuff. I mean, people are listening to Atmos content maybe not knowing, if they're just using AirPods and they don't, or a smart sound bar or something like that, and they might not realize that they're listening to some spatial music. But there's nothing like listening to a loudspeaker environment in Atmos or any immersive format for that matter. But when we bring people in there, I mean, it's just, the first time I taught our immersive audio class, it was really fun. And we had just gotten that room set up. And I remember I had a couple students in there that were like, I get it. Like, I get Atmos and I get immersive, I get surround sound for like the film thing. Like, I get, everybody thinks about the helicopter, the plane fly over. But like, I just don't get it. I don't get it for music. And I was like, okay. And we just like stopped class there and I was like, okay, check this out. And we went over in there and we just started listening. And like, it was an emotional experience for them. And you could see them and they were just quiet. And then they just kind of looked at me like, I get it.
Yeah.
Just that idea of emotional experience, like in particular, I've seen or been a part of like so many of those in this building. Like, man, I don't know how to say it other than they're world class. And people don't get a chance to hear music like that in their life most of the times. And it can be really emotional for a lot of people. Studio A is going to be the crown jewel. We're going to put all the attention there. This is where the Studio A goes. But needing a full-fledged Studio B and it being kind of where it had to be. And so, again, being a realist and understanding that there were sacrifices. Studio B, the control room is amazing, but you walk into the tracking room and it feels a little funky. It's very awkward shape, and on top of that there's a column in the middle. And I remember looking at the plans and thinking initially between the awkward shape, very unusual awkward shape, and the column in the middle, before any of this was built, thinking, okay, with Studio B, I'm thankful to have a full-fledged Studio B. That's part of it. But I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know how much I'm going to use it.
We are doing all sorts of sightline studies in AutoCAD just to be able to see, like, where can we put a booth? Where could you still see the drums? But this column is what it is. And so kind of work around it. But it definitely, it's one of those rooms that still sounds great. I mean, I know that you've had great experiences with it, and it's a comfortable environment, even though it's a little wonky.
Yeah, I always wish, every time I give a tour, it's like, yeah, I know it looks a little weird, but trust me, it's amazing. It's world class.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, we tell the story all the time that we didn't believe it sounded as good as it did until students were showing us work, and we couldn't believe it just sounded too good.
Yeah.
And we had to come in here and playing it for ourselves for a weekend to make sure that it was really that. So
that's awesome.
I think, again, just the fact that we have such very different sounding rooms. It's not like we have like A, B, C, and they all just kind of sound the same. Like everything is very different. We have A that feels a very certain way, and B that works a certain way, and we have our mastering studio. And so that's just instructionally, that's incredible to be able to do that and to help students, develop their ears and things like that.
Yeah. And then we got the ISO booth back here in the back. We have some of the mic plates and the surface mounted conduit here, which just kind of blends in with the same color as the wall. But it's treatment that we have in here. It's mostly off the shelf items. It's, I think we got the Flex 48s from Acoustical Fulfillment. I think some of the panels may have come from there as well, the bass traps. And then Oralex Acoustics has these geofuser diffusers that you see in this room and in the main live room there. Just helps to really scatter sound and not make it sound too dead and dry. And it also offers bass trapping too, like those help with the bass trapping in the low frequency range. Just travels through that thermoform plastic and doesn't see it as a barrier, and it's backfilled with insulation that can help with that low and mid range, which is really nice.
Let's go take a look at the mix and edit suites.
This hallway houses most of our mix and edit suites. There are 2 on the main floor, and then 10 of them down through here. And so they're all pretty much the same. They all have the same software. They all have the same controller and interface. Some different monitors, some different configurations, so they sound a little different, which we think is good for students. We can step into one here just so you can get a feel for what they look like a little bit. Students trying to do all different things, and some of them are super into the big studio things, Studio A, Studio B. Some of them are more than happy particularly if maybe they're doing EDM or if they're doing hip hop, where this is exactly what they want to be doing in a space exactly like this. And this is the hallway that really gets hopping and popping and energetic, between the hours of 8 and we'll say whatever, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning as this gets really just interactive, you know, and you never know what you're going to hear
Yeah.
pumping out of the rooms. It's a lot of fun.
I think I remember some of these panels came from the old building,
Yes,
right?
there is some. Okay, so yeah, I can tell you right here. These are recycled, right? And
Yeah.
you can walk through some of the different rooms and see maybe the color scheme doesn't fit perfectly.
Sure.
That's a recycle.
Yes, yeah. But it's nice. It was like, it's always good to like do some value engineering
Yeah,
there, and
exactly.
just doing things like that saves money to be able to buy extra gear or put more attention into Studio A.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. Yeah, it seems like some of them are being used right now. I remember when you guys came to us with this vision and all of these rooms, I was so excited because it's like, you know, sometimes we're doing some studios for different universities around the country, and sometimes like 5 or 6 rooms, like, and that's all they have, which they're still high quality rooms, but they don't have so much like you guys do.
This program's pretty, is a relatively easier program to work with. They have extremely good staff that has a lot of knowledge. They actually make records, they work in the industry, they do this stuff as well. You know, if they're not here, they're usually out doing something with music. So when you put like an immersive system in with Dolby Atmos, it's just kind of working with typical room dimensions, speaker layouts. You know, how do you mount? How can we grow some existing spaces within a building as well into usable spaces, and doing some of the forward-thinking things like networking the facility with Dante if needed, so any room can be used for vocal isolation or guitar isolation or instrument isolation. The whole building has been, you know, from being down in the main A room to being upstairs in a practice room and stuff. It's tied together. It's pretty impressive. Putting a console 5088 here in the A room, which is, you know, pretty unique for such a professional studio, that somebody that definitely knew what they were doing must have designed this place. And but we have 5088 in the A room, Avid S6 with immersive audio and Dolby Atmos, a dedicated mastering room, which is very unique to see in education. And then instructors too that are really tied in with the students and have done an amazing job. Some of the best students and graduates that I've met have come out of this program.
What was really unique about St. Francis, when I was looking at other schools that had music tech programs, because of the size of the program here, they actually give you full access to the studio as a freshman. You can walk in and day one, you're able to just start working on projects in the main studio.
What is it like having access to these studios every day?
It's really nice because when you work a lot and you can still come here to do your homework even at late hours, it's great having all the access.
During the summer, I was here in and out, like all the time, and I'm in some bands from here. So we came in here and recorded some songs, and I'm always hanging out with my friends here, and yeah, it's a really great space to just like get down and work, and then also share some memories with some people.
Yeah.
I do like the mix and edit suites because they aren't as, I guess, scary to start into, you know?
Yeah.
But they're great.
Yeah. The nice thing is that this place is set up to where you have like some more entry-level rooms, but then you can kind of work up to learning and kind of
Yeah.
mastering this type of setup, which is the goal, right?
Yeah.
This space is under the auditorium space. The 2,000 seat auditorium is just above us. And so this is another space that's available for meetings or other types of things. People have wedding receptions here, all different types of community events, as well as just university things. But we've had performances in here. We can actually cut this room up in a number of different ways. We can light all these pillars differently. And we've had for example, our jazz ensemble, we're bringing staging and lighting and light catering and stuff. So it feels kind of like a jazz club, and it is a great sounding space for that.
Conversely, the EDM concert and the beach balls and the
Yeah.
lighted wristbands and like where it's opened up more and it feels really cool.
What a
Or
cool
it's a fun
space.
place, again, as a drummer to play drums in here and try something different.
Guitar amps at blistering levels
Yeah.
in a very big echoey room.
Yeah. And you can actually see the columns we had to work around in
exactly.
Studio
And
B.
that is what
That
they-
is what we had to deal with right there. But man, that's great to have the flexibility to do whatever you want in these spaces.
Yeah, so we have some really, again, we have a great facility, but then the fact that this is just next door, that we can creatively do, sound design or other types of things as well.
That's awesome. So we need to go up.
Yeah, let's go upstairs.
All right.
This
was originally a music library.
That's right.
And we went rogue and took it over just because we needed some more space to have some fun and turned this into the MIDI lab, or just for all of the different fun 808s and MPCs and beat machines and whatever other synths. So yeah, we have a
awesome.
MIDI class that I teach, and then this gives students just another place to play, book out, do whatever they want to do in here, and go nuts and experiment with all the toys.
That's right.
So this is sort of a hybrid room. I spend most of my time up here teaching production classes and whatnot, and as you can see right now, there's amps set up and everything. There's drums over here, so that students use it for ensembles in the evening and all of that stuff. There's a great guitar cabinet in there for students to use, and you can see again there's just lots of gear out because this is sort of the entry-level recording classes where we're going to play with the old Mackie and hook everything up.
You guys have a lot of practice rooms as well. Are those also like 24/7 access for people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, some of the students again come in with music lesson experience. Others, like, this is their first time taking a traditional music lesson and stuff, so they're using those rooms, those practice rooms all the time. So this is our large ensemble room, and you'll see here that this also has some of the Flex 48 panels and things like this. So a bit more of the traditional rehearsal room ensemble space. But again, everything in this whole building, even all the mix and edit suites, I mean, everything is all connected digitally. So something happening in the auditorium stage could be sent down to the mix and edit suite or into
Right.
the studios.
The Steinway there down into the studio A in
Yeah.
the basement.
Nice.
So a lot of flexibility.
Right. We've also done, it's just also, I mean, it's a simple ensemble room, but it's a great sounding room. We've had recitals in here and lectures, and it's a very versatile room.
Yeah. What is it that you're most excited about as far as being in this program and kind of working your way up?
I really like the opportunities that they give us. Like, it allows you to see a future in what you're creating. And it's great communication here as well, where you can just ask and they will provide.
Yeah.
My professors here really take a initiative in our lives and really make sure that we're going to be good after school, not just while we're here as well.
I know that the way that this studio was designed is purposefully, we wanted to have a lot of sight lines and windows to look into here, but also to kind of foster collaboration. Do you work with fellow students or other artists with your music?
I do. The person that I work with the most at the moment, his name's John Hoffman, and we've been working on doing gigs together in Fort Wayne, and we're making a lot of songs together. And I've been asked by a few students to sing on some tracks with them as well, to do some big collabs, you know?
Me and my friend Kyle, we recorded in this studio, and we got to go to New York at the AES conference, and we ended up winning silver in that competition, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun, did a lot of cool stuff.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that competition's like worldwide, right? Or is it?
It's international,
International,
I
wow.
believe, yeah.
That's so great. Congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate
And
it.
all recorded in here.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else like it, like in the northeastern side of Indiana, or even really like within a 3-hour radius of in this part of the Midwest. There's nothing really like this.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you guys having us here and allowing us to show off your beautiful space.
Always fun, Gavin. We are eternally grateful for your masterful work here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.